What mechanisms can you tell the public about that exist to prevent this from happening?
So what a powerful example of disinformation. There is no facts underlying these assertions. They are extremely damaging. It causes people to lose confidence in the integrity of the election system. And we need people in positions of authority to actually communicate accurate information to the voting public. The numbers that we are experiencing now at the border are actually lower than they were at this time of year in 2019. And so it's not just over the last 3 years, but well before them in the pre-COVID times. And the notion that we in law enforcement have sought to intentionally allow individuals to cross the border illegally for the purpose of voting is preposterous. And everyone should condemn that rhetoric, everyone, regardless of party affiliation.
So on the issue of the actions you've taken to bring these border crossings down, this was President Biden's presidential power. He's essentially disqualifying most of those who are entering illegally from being able to get asylum. This was meant to be a temporary policy change. So you took this without having to go to Congress and change the law, in short.
We took it after Congress failed to take the enduring step of legislation, which was bipartisan in nature.
But just in doing that, by doing this through presidential power, aren't you essentially doing what Republicans said was possible throughout, which was with the stroke of a pen, President Biden could stop all of this?
No, and remember where we were. We were enforcing Title 42 of the Public Health Authority until May of last year. We then sought from Congress additional funding, additional Border Patrol agents, additional Homeland Security investigations personnel. They did not fund the Department of Homeland Security to enhance our border security. We sought that funding again rejected. A bipartisan group of senators actually presented the most dramatic change in legislation in over 20 years. Congress was poised to pass it, and then politics got in the way. Some people would prefer the problem to persist than deliver a solution for the American people. The president acted. And remember, we had to build the capacity to implement so successfully the president's proclamation, and that is indeed what we have been doing month after month.
So, but on this issue of who is in the country, I know practically speaking, it is very difficult to deport, for example, to the country of Venezuela. Donald Trump on the campaign trail talks a lot about a prison gang from that country. And he argues there's already laws in the books that would allow for the Biden administration to dismantle criminal networks. He says he'd do it. Are there those laws? Are you doing everything you can to combat this transnational criminal organization?
Yes, we are. And I think you're speaking of Tren de Aragua, TDA. Margaret, I was a prosecutor for 12 years. We had criminal gangs to battle back then. We are indeed doing everything we can to dismantle criminal gangs and transnational criminal organizations. And quite frankly, we've devoted an unprecedented level of resources and personnel and focus to this effort. This is not a new phenomenon, but we are bringing new tools, new capabilities, and new resources to the fight.
Can you quickly explain what the status is with this arrest this past week, or this prosecution we learned of this past week, of this Afghan national who was apparently planning an election day terrorist attack on behalf of ISIS? He was in this country. He had immigration status. Was he radicalized before he came to the United States?
So, Margaret, it is an ongoing prosecution, so I won't speak of the facts, but the viewing public is getting an idea of the breadth and diversity of the missions that we in the Department of Homeland Security tackle.
But it gets to the issue of vetting versus whether he was radicalized here.
Remember, the individual came in through parole, an Afghan national, and when we vet, and we do so intensively, when we vet an individual, it's a point-in-time screening and vetting process. If we obtain information subsequently that suggests the individual could be of danger, we take appropriate law enforcement action. That is exactly what we did in this case.
Understood. Secretary Moore.